June 6, 1944, 3 in the morning. In a house at 35 Crespigny Road, North London, a man sits at a radio transmitter. He has an urgent message for his handlers in Germany. Allied forces hit the beaches hours ago. The invasion has begun. He transmits. Silence. No one answers. He waits. 5 hours pass. The man waiting is not a soldier, not a trained intelligence officer. His only formal degree is from the Royal Poultry School of Arenas de Mar. His name is Juan Pujol García, and he is about to save D-Day by doing the only thing he has ever been exceptional at: making things up. Before the war, Juan Pujol García was a dreamer. Childhood photographs show him covered in bandages after acting out wild adventures. He crashed his tricycle through plate glass windows, nearly decapitated himself while lost in fantasy. His imagination, he would later explain, controlled his brain. He was powerless to stop it. When the Spanish Civil War began in 1936, he was managing a poultry farm. By the time it ended, he had somehow fought for both sides without firing a single bullet for either. He emerged with a hatred of totalitarianism and one very specific ambition. He wanted to start a personal war with Hitler, and he wanted to fight with his imagination. 1941. Pujol approaches British authorities in Madrid. They reject him. He tries again in Lisbon. Rejected. A third time. Rejected. He has no training, no connections, no qualifications. British intelligence has no use for a chicken farmer with delusions of espionage, so he does something unthinkable. If the British won't hire him, the Germans will. He contacts Friedrich Knapperady, an Abwehr agent in Madrid, sells himself as a Spanish fascist sympathizer willing to spy in Britain. The Germans believe him. They train him. Invisible ink, code book, 600 pounds in expenses. They send him to London. Why, he goes to Lisbon instead. He checks into the Hotel Palacio in Estoril. From his room, armed with a Spanish-language tourist guide, a British railway schedule, and magazines from the Lisbon Public Library, Juan Pujol García begins sending intelligence reports from London, a city he has never visited. The reports are detailed, confident. He describes troop movements, naval deployments, defensive installations. He itemizes his expenses in pounds, shillings, and pence, a currency system so complex he can't actually total the amounts. He just lists them and promises to send the sum later. He tells them his contact in Glasgow would do anything for a liter of wine. Anyone who knows Scotland knows they drink whiskey. The Germans notice none of it. They believe every word. But the British are reading his messages. They intercept them through Ultra, their communications intelligence program. And the reports are so detailed, so credible, in that MI5 launches a manhunt. They are hunting for a German spy operating in London, a spy who doesn't exist, reporting from a city he's never been to, from a hotel room in Portugal. February 1942. The Allies finally realize what's happening. This isn't a German spy in London. This is someone pretending to be a German spy in London, while sitting in Lisbon, inventing the entire thing. Someone good enough to fool both sides at once. They bring him in. April 24th, 1942. Pujol lands in Plymouth. 2 MI5 officers meet him at the docks. They give him a code name to reflect his talent, Garbo, after Greta Garbo, the best actor in the world. They pair him with Tomás Harris, a Spanish-speaking officer. The official history would later call their partnership one between 2 exceptionally gifted men. They move Pujol to the safe house in Hendon, and from that unremarkable 2-story house with a small back garden, Juan Pujol García begins building a fiction elaborate enough to fool Hitler. For 2 years, he and Harris write 315 letters to the Germans, averaging 2,000 words each. By 1944, Pujol has invented 27 sub-agents, a Venezuelan in Glasgow, an indiscreet American sergeant, a Welsh nationalist leading a fascist group called the Brothers of the Aryan World Order. When an agent makes a mistake, Pujol kills them off. He plants fake obituaries in British newspapers. The Germans send condolences to widows who never existed. Between January and June 1944, Pujol sends over 500 radio messages. Some days, more than 20. The Germans trust him completely. Pay him the equivalent of more than $6 million today. They have no idea that every single person in his network is imaginary, that every report is a lie he and Harris wrote in Hendon. But the pressure is taking a toll. His wife, in Araceli, helped him approach the British, moved to London with him. Now she's homesick, isolated, trapped in a safe house while her husband transmits lies to Germany. By 1944, she's had enough. She flies into a rage, threatens to go to the Spanish embassy, threatens to blow his cover. MI5 stages his arrest. They blindfold her, drive her to an interrogation center. When they remove the blindfold, her husband is there. Unshaven, prison clothes. She bursts into tears, begs for his release, promises she'll never threaten again. It works. But the marriage is over. The man who is fooling Hitler can't save his own family. June 5th, 1944. The Allies tell Pujol the invasion is coming. He arranges for German radio operators to be listening during the night. At 3 a.m., he begins transmitting. His message is urgent, critical, time-sensitive. No one answers. 3 hours pass, 4, 5. At 8 a.m., the German operators finally respond. And Pujol is furious. And that fury, that wounded professional pride, is about to save everything. He sends them a message, tells them he is disgusted. In this struggle for life and death, he cannot accept excuses or negligence. Were it not for his ideals and faith, he would abandon the work, having proved himself a failure. The Germans are stunned, apologetic. They have let down their best agent. They listen. And because of the delay, Pujol now has more operational details from Normandy to include. He transmits for 129 minutes. The Germans believe every word. 3 days later, June 9th, Pujol sends the message that will change the war. It's long, urgent. He demands immediate transmission to German High Command. The message is simple. Normandy is a diversion. The real invasion is coming at Pas de Calais, 150 miles northeast. It will be led by the 1st United States Army Group under General Patton. Troops from that army haven't participated in Normandy. They're being held in reserve for the real attack. German High Command receives the message. 2 days later, they respond. All reports from Arabelle have been confirmed without exception. They are especially valuable. Here's what they don't know. The 1st United States Army Group doesn't exist. It's plywood and canvas, photographed by German reconnaissance. And General Patton is commanding a ghost army. And because Juan Pujol García has spent 2 years making the lie so detailed, so persistent, so real, German High Command keeps 2 armored divisions and 19 infantry divisions at Pas de Calais, waiting for an invasion that will never come. The Allies hoped the deception would buy them 2 weeks. It holds for 7. July 29th, 1944. Juan Pujol García is awarded the Iron Cross by Adolf Hitler for his extraordinary services to Germany. 4 months later, he receives an MBE from King George VI. The war ends. With MI5's help, Pujol fakes his death from malaria in 1949, moves to Venezuela, opens a bookstore in Lagunillas. His wife and children are told he's dead. They believe it. His children will believe it for 35 years, 1984. A British historian tracks him down. On June 6th, the 40th anniversary of D-Day, Pujol travels to Normandy. At Omaha Beach, veterans line up to thank him. Then he visits the graves of those killed in the landings. He weeps, tells them he didn't do enough. Juan Pujol García died in Caracas in 1988. He is buried in Choroní, Venezuela, in a small cemetery inside Henri Pittier National Park by the Caribbean Sea. His gravestone reads, Juan Pujol García, February 14th, 1912, October 10th, 1988. Remembered by? And then the inscription ends. Remembered by whom? By the Germans, who never knew they'd been fooled? By the British, who gave him an award and let him disappear? By his children, who believed he was dead for 35 years? He remembered them, the men at Normandy, standing at their graves 40 years later, weeping, saying he didn't do enough. Not the Iron Cross, not the MBE, not the history books, the men who lived. That's what a chicken farmer with nothing but imagination spent his life carrying. The weight of the lives he saved, and the belief, forever, that it wasn't enough.